Hello, my name is Adam Peoples, and I did my first research paper on the topic of Facebook's unethical handling of user data, their unethical practices regarding user privacy and user safety. Since the introduction of social media platforms, there have been many concerns regarding user privacy and safety. I feel that as the largest social media platform as of the time of writing, Facebook is at the forefront of these concerns. They have been at the center of many issues regarding privacy and security. They've been involved in many scandals, which I will go into, regarding the poor handling of user privacy and data security. I'll introduce some recent events. In 2014, ZDNet reported that Facebook was found to be manipulating users' timelines with emotionally charged posts to determine their effects on users, how users would react to being shown different things. Then in 2017, the Huffington Post reported on the sale of political ads to Russian entities by Facebook during the 2016 election. More political scandal came out in 2018 when several news outlets, including the New York Times and The Guardian, reported that Facebook was providing personal user data, including things such as names, relationship statuses, liked pages, and more, without user consent or knowledge to the firm Cambridge Analytica for use in the production of targeted ads in support of political candidate Donald Trump during the 2016 election. And the fourth scandal I'd like to introduce is recently, this is in 2019, Business Insider reported that Facebook was recording users' messenger calls and sending them to third-party entities for transcription and processing without user consent. I'll first start by elaborating on the non-consensual experimentation on users. This is the 2014 scandal reported by ZDNet. ZDNet reported about found evidence that Facebook was manipulating user timelines. Their goal, they were performing an experiment to determine how users would react to different posts. Posts were ran through a piece of software, an internal tool, it's kind of like an AI, to determine if they were positive or negative emotionally. Then some users were shown a larger proportion of positive posts, some users were shown a larger proportion of negative, it varied. Then users' posts were ran against the same tool to see if they were positive or negative. And the goal of the study was to answer the question, do positive posts make users post more positively? Do negative posts make them post more negatively, etc.? It was referred to as emotional contagion in the ZDNet article. There were several unethical aspects to this study. Users were not asked for their consent to participate. They were also not informed of the study. The only way users were informed was through news articles reporting about it later. Furthermore, if the study was successful, this has some pretty dire implications. It would mean that users' timelines could be manipulated to show whatever Facebook wanted them to see, such as targeted advertisements, political messages. It could cause uproar among groups. It could be used for social engineering. It could be heavily manipulated and be used to harm users significantly. Note the results of that study seem to be inconclusive. I haven't been able to find much information about it. No one seems to have talked much about it. People have basically stated that the tool used to determine post emotions was inaccurate at best. That is a sidetrack, though, not the main point of my discussion regarding ethics. The next scandal I would like to talk about is the sale of political ads to foreign entities. The Huffington Post reported this in 2017, that Facebook was selling political advertisements to third-party entities in Russia. The CEO of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, when confronted about this, initially denied the possibility of Facebook being manipulated for this use. Basically stated there's no possibility that this could happen. Facebook can't be manipulated like that. Then once farther leaks came out and there was actually pressure from several people involved in the US Congress, as well as user pressure, he came out with a statement pledging that Facebook would have greater transparency regarding the purchasers of political ads. He stated that you'd be able to highlight a political ad on Facebook, and from there you'd be able to see who paid for it, who sponsored it. There were several unethical aspects involved in this incident. Facebook knowingly accepted payment from foreign entities for political ads, then denied it when they were caught. It was very apparent to journalists or people who had more information than the general public. This practice in itself goes against U.S. law. U.S. law states that foreign parties cannot spend money to influence the outcome of American elections. The ability of foreign entities to do this is also harmful to users because it allows for the wide-scale spread of misinformation, and with the goal of influencing the presidential election, but this could be used in other manners to harm the general public and could basically be used as a form of international espionage. This wasn't the only political scandal Facebook is involved in, however. That brings me to my next one, the Cambridge Analytica scandal. This was reported by many news outlets, but the articles I had found were from the New York Times and The Guardian. They reported this in early 2018, that Facebook was providing personal data, and this data included names, relationship statuses, liked pages, friends lists, and even location data of users to the third-party advertisement firm Cambridge Analytica. They were providing this so that the firm could create targeted political ads in support of presidential candidate Donald Trump during the 2016 election. This also had some unethical aspects to it. The information was passed on to the firm without user knowledge and without user consent. Furthermore, this violates Facebook's own policy regarding its advertisers. Facebook states that third-party advertisers are not allowed to have access to private user data. However, in this instance, they clearly were granted that access. Users were never informed of the data leak. This left users vulnerable to targeted advertisements, and furthermore, if this data got out to other entities on the internet, this would leave them vulnerable to things as severe as social engineering and identity theft. Furthermore, for the recent scandals, my next and last scandal I'd like to talk about is the recent user recording scandal. This was reported by outlet Business Insider in August of this year, 2019. Facebook was found to be sending the audio of Messenger voice calls to third-party contractors online to be transcribed/processed. Facebook's argued themselves that this is consensual because it's only being done to users who have opted into having their calls transcribed. Facebook's recently rolled out a new feature in Messenger. You can enroll in having your calls transcribed, which basically you'll be able to have a call and immediately after have a full text log of what was said. The terms of service makes it seem as if this will be done by AI through software means. It doesn't make it apparent that this will be done by real humans. So the unethical aspects of this include that users are not told that their data is being sent to third parties. Non-consensual user data. The non-consensual sharing of user data is a breach of privacy in itself is unethical. Another concern is these third-party contractors may be engaging in malicious behavior. Regarding user privacy, they could be using this data to spy on users, and no one really knows if Facebook is archiving this data for future use or potentially the use in targeted advertisements or other such means. The To conclude all of this, these scandals make it apparent that user privacy and data security should be the concerns of all users of social media. Facebook has been the prime example of how not to handle user data. They've demonstrated unethical handling of user data, and in some cases, they've violated their own policies to handle user data unethically. They seem to be more concerned with their profits rather than the safety of their users. The company appears to be trustworthy. They go forth and put forth this image of trustworthiness despite their, well, strongly negative behavior. They deny wrongdoing, as seen in the political scandals, or don't provide transparency to users, seen in the Cambridge Analytica scandal, only making small changes when law pushes them or requires them to do so. This unethical behavior should not be tolerated by users, and I'm strongly in favor of regulatory action being placed upon these companies. Facebook, in particular, has shown time and time again that users are not safe with their platform, and that Facebook only serves to make money and profit off of the sales of advertisements.